Welcome, everybody. See, we normally do Patriot Hangout Live, but tonight we have a special episode. Considering the recent video that we did on the decline in masculinity, I would like to welcome to the stage Chris from Missouri Survival. Welcome,
What's going
sir.
on? What's going on, man?
Not much. So we've been we were talking back and forth over the last week about doing this video on this topic, and then after we released it, we wanted to come out with another video and talk about some solutions, some actions that people can take to that we can combat this issue of the decline of American men. And if you're not subscribed to Missouri Survival, I hope you'll go over there and subscribe to his channel. Chris, I hope you get hundreds of new subscribers from this.
Dude, they yeeted my video this morning, so I don't know. I got some goodie out of it though. So, you know,
Yeah,
the channel's grown the last couple days, so that's cool.
yeah, that's good. Um, hopefully some of those came from us doing that video together. I hope. I always want to. If I got subscribers that aren't subscribed to one of y'all, I always like, hey, everybody go over there, subscribe, go subscribe to all the homies.
Right. Dude, and I'm kind of like that too. If I find some like which I consider myself a tiny YouTuber anyway, but if I find somebody that's just kind of starting out but they got good stuff, I always try to share them out and just build the community even if we don't become like buddies. I think that it's important to share this mindset with people if possible.
Yeah, and I find it interesting too that a lot of our channels started around the same time. All of us guys who are like doing stuff together, and I think that's really cool. I think it was. I mean, really, it was during the whole COVID shutdown things. It's like a lot of channels popped up. I think maybe a lot of people was just like, hey, what's going on? We need to be getting ready for something.
Right. I mean, I always kind of had the prepper mindset just because of my grandpa, but like there was a huge gap as far as my channel went because I kind of started off doing bushcraft stuff and outdoor stuff. And then, I've always been into guns, but not really Minuteman type stuff. And when the COVID hit and all that crap, I was like, all right, it's time to get healthy again. It's time to, you know, start getting proficient and be ready for whatever is going to be forced down our throats in the next decade or whatever.
Yeah, absolutely. Um, so um, so we went over a lot of stuff in that video, and like I said at the end, there's a lot more that could be like we could go on for days on that topic, but
Right.
uh, so I'll let you go ahead. Like some of the specific issues that we talked about. What are some thoughts you have on how those things can be combated?
Well, I think the two that keep coming into my mind, because I was sitting down thinking about this before we got started, and I think that all of this is an operation. This is something that's being done on purpose, and I think both of us had come to that conclusion. But like, we need to have mentors. I think that that's something that I would say manly men think is kind of for somebody else. You know what I'm saying? Oh, I've got work to do, and yeah, you should be working and doing the things. But like, a lot of us don't. We don't want to take the time to maybe coach somebody or give them the perspective that is a more masculine perspective. We're just like, oh well, he'll figure it out, and it's like I don't think society's doing that. I think that we need to have an effort to come along people and bring them up in a way that is a manly way of taking care of things rather than just letting them flap out there in the wind, if that makes sense.
Yeah, yeah, it
You know,
does.
and another thing that I think is totally an operation is the food. Like we've got to get ourselves back to eating actual food instead of like this processed stuff that actually makes your body produce more estrogen. Like that's a thing. If you get looking into that, that like this processed garbage and all these chemicals that we're getting is like the man's like testosterone level is half of what it was even 50 years ago. It's
Yeah,
kind of crazy to see how that's going. Like we've got all these like testosterone replacement therapy and all that stuff. And I'm not bashing that. That's probably a good idea the way the food industry's going, but like we shouldn't need that, you know.
Mm.
And if we're growing our own food, if we're getting more self-reliant, I think that those are two really big steps to at least chemically having our head and our ass wired together to even be a man, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah, I know. Like I've been, eating, trying to eat a lot better the past couple months or so. Because I've been, as people know, I kind of had that, spell of depression and all those things, and I'm trying to eat better and do everything I possibly could, like to fix that stuff. And been eating, as a lot of people say, stay out of the center of the grocery store, like stay off the shelves, stay to the outside, with the fresh vegetables and meats and stuff,
Right,
away from that processed stuff. And I've basically just kind of been sticking to that, and I feel so much better just eating, lots of protein. I have a salad with a gigantic steak. You know what I mean? And
right,
man, I feel so much more energized eating that way and not eating a bunch of processed garbage.
right. Well, I mean, even growing my own food in my garden this year, the stuff, I don't know, I feel like it doesn't affect me in a negative way like some of the store-bought crap can. It just
Yeah,
seems like I'm more energized and I feel better eating stuff that was grown in my yard, you know. So I'm trying to kind of work that way in my own life to just more for weight loss because I'm still kind of on that kick, but like it's going to help the chemical things going on, and if you're chemically imbalanced, then you're probably going to be psychologically imbalanced, so
yeah.
that is truly a thing.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Um, and even then, I learned the hard way that if you're having any psychological issues going on, it will affect you physically as well at a certain point, and it sucks. Uh,
Yeah, I mean, I've had it.
yeah, yeah, absolutely. Um, so sorry, I was something popped up on my computer. I was trying to figure out what it was.
That's cool.
Uh,
That's
so
cool.
I found something interesting. Like I was looking online just about an hour ago. I just like let's see what comes up on Google because that's something we talked about. Like is like you look up all this stuff and it comes from a
Right.
bunch of libtards who probably part of the problem. And uh, so I saw some. I literally saw this as how to combat. What did I type in? How to combat the attacks on manliness, and the exact opposite of what I was looking for come up. There was
Right.
literally something. It was like how to how to combat manliness was the first
Oh
article that showed
gosh.
up, and I was like, what? I was like, okay, this is not what I was looking for, but I got to see what this says. And one of the
Right.
things was like literally one of the points in that article was how to recover from manliness. I was
Oh
like,
my
what?
gosh.
It was like uh embrace the feminine energy and be more empathetic and be more and all this nonsense. But so like the way they're defining manliness is not the way I define manliness, and I don't think you or many other people do either.
Right. Well, like they they want to, and I touched on this in my little part in that they want to redefine it. They have to set up this. I forget the actual word, but it's just like this fake like creation of what manliness is supposed to be, so they can destroy it. So they want to build something that they can make tumble into dust, and move the Overton window in people's mind. So they're like, oh well, that manliness is just toxicity, or you can't be manly and empathetic when you can.
Mhm.
Manly empathy is getting your skid steer and helping your neighbor move a damn tree out of his yard and get his car out so he can go to work. That's man's empathy, as far as I'm concerned. It doesn't have to be this. Oh, you've got to be all soft-handed about everything and get emotional about everything. You know.
Yeah. And I think too, it's like they're thinking like every man is like, or they're putting it out there like every man is like a an Andrew Tate or something. You know what I mean? Like
Dude, honestly, that guy annoys me. That's one of those people
he
that
does me too.
he
Yeah.
bugs the shit out of me. I can't stand him. I think he's, again, manliness doesn't have to be egomaniac. You don't have to be like kissing your own ass to be a man.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah, and I think that's definitely. I mean, I think that does enter into that toxic realm. You know, when people talk about toxic masculinity, that's kind of
Hell,
leaning in that way.
but they want to take that as the example of what
Right.
even you and I are talking about. Be a man, learn how to take care of your family, learn skills that are actually going to be applicable to the real world. That those two things are not even in the same galaxy, in my
No.
mind.
No. Not at all. Yeah, I mean, and on the thing with empathy, like it's crazy to me that a lot of these articles that we've seen and everything, because I've seen that word brought up a lot. You know, show more empathy, show more. Like, who said men are not supposed to be empathetic? Like, I don't. I'm a very empathetic person. You know, the opposite of that is a narcissist. So, is every man a narcissist? No.
Oh, but dude, that word narcissism. Every time, and this isn't. It's almost every woman. Every time I see somebody who I know, a dude getting a divorce, his wife's running around calling him a narcissist. It can never be their problem. It could
Right.
never be the woman that's a damn lunatic. And I'm not saying that that's all the women either, but just like I can't stand the word narcissism just because it's almost weaponized to just demean even just decent people that weren't gonna, be run over.
Yeah. Yeah. I think there's definitely a lot of people trying to diagnose somebody as a narcissist that is not.
Yeah,
But
armchair
um,
phone educated psychologists.
right.
They su- they suddenly
I mean,
get into psychology when they file for a divorce.
yeah, yeah, and on the lines of empathy, like I would, if you're not a dude who's very empathetic, like I don't, that's not a, I don't think to to not show empathy, I think is not very manly. I think a good man should show a level of empathy, not overly emotional empathy, but be like you said, going to help somebody. You see somebody that's broke down on the side of the road, and you feel for them and you stop and help them, and like I think that is something men should do, and that is a manly thing to do.
Yeah, yeah. Empathy with men, and it's not always this case, but it largely should be with some action. Men try
Right.
to solve problems. It's kind of in our DNA to do that. I mean, I can empathize with somebody who's had a tragedy. I'm not sitting around, telling somebody who's had a family tragedy, well, that's just the way life goes. Get over it. No, it's crazy to think that, to be a real man, that you can't actually just even have the emotional side of it. You're not ruled by them.
Right.
Being ruled by your emotions isn't necessarily manly, but
Yeah. I think that's yeah, well that's a good point too. Kind of adding to actions that can be taken. It may not be against this attack on manliness, but it is action that men should take. Is yeah, and I've had to make a lot of effort towards that myself. Recently, but not like you just said, not let your emotions rule you and everything. And this sort of the Stoic philosophy and mindset around that is good. Like Stoicism doesn't teach people to not have emotions or not have any opinions or feelings, but just to not be ruled by them and not let them control you. And yeah, I think
right.
that's definitely something that men should do for sure.
Well, I mean, if a situation happens where, like let's say my daughter, okay, I got a young daughter, but let's say she's 17 and she wrecks her car and she's freaking out. If I show up and freak out too when I'm supposed to be there to fix the problem, that's not being a man and helping fix the situation. We're supposed to be the calm when things go to shit.
Yeah.
So, I mean, That's kind of falling down the job. If she has something that's screwed up, and then I show up and I melt down over it too, that doesn't help anything.
Absolutely. I'm actually making a list of everything that we everything that
Oh,
we
that's cool.
that's why I stop every few seconds
Hey,
because
that's cool.
yeah.
I like it. I like it.
Yeah.
Which I
Joseph
wrote down
G.
a few points, but I was just
Yeah.
winging it. That's all I'm saying. They're just footnotes.
Yeah. I don't think most of the people don't know it, but I usually actually have a pen and I'm sitting here taking notes every time I do a live with people. And then, it gives ideas lately, just things to think about or possible videos in the future or things that,
Right.
discuss.
I tuck
And
stuff like that away. Yeah.
Joseph, Joseph G said everybody's at red love. Yeah, I know he's lost. I figured he'd already be over there. uh, but, so let's see, what's another attack on manliness that we could take action on. What you got in your notes?
Let's see. Let me look at my notes here.
So far we've talked about like eating better, that manly empathy, solve problems, help people. Um,
Well, there's a couple. One, stop being sedentary. I think that American men have
mm,
become sedentary. You know, we I was that way with video games, especially when I was physically going to shit. I was playing all kinds of video games, and none of these things are things that you shouldn't do as a man. I still
right,
play video games now, but again, I'm not ruled by it. You know,
right,
but I was sedentary and sitting on my ass and I don't know, fixing to vapor lock and have a heart attack. I don't know, but like all of the recreation around men in this country involves either low contact sports like golf if they're going to get out and do something, or it's the even more low contact thing of okay, we'll watch a few men that make a lot of money get on a field and run a ball back and forth while we sit and eat cheese and chips and fried shit. Like that crap is not good for men. Like we're gonna
yeah,
have to quit. We're gonna have to quit with the bread and circuses to some degree. I'm not saying don't have recreation, but I mean, I'm not saying don't watch football, but like we have made even like Father's Day, it's all about excess consumption. It's about sitting around and pampering yourself and eating a bunch of crap. Father's Day could be so much more than that.
absolutely. Yeah, the staying active, that's a big one, and that's the thing with testosterone too. Like you produce more testosterone, like the more you stay active and stuff.
Yeah. Well, like if you're out, even if you're just going on a hike, which is not a survival thing per se, but like you're you're having a physical change. Like the human body, from what I understand, like changes its cells completely in like a 7 year period. So like imagine what that's actually doing to us. If we took 5 years of our life, I mean 5 years of our makeup physically is almost has a neural pathway to continue to be lazy, if that makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely. It was like, what's that? The body in motion stays in motion.
Right.
Uh, um, uh,
Half.
so, huh?
I was just gonna say, I think half of American men are rusting away. I was one of those guys. You just sitting
Yeah,
there.
yeah. I know. Like when I first got out of the Marine Corps, like I was just exhausted, from the time in the Marine Corps, and I mean probably for like a year, I just sat around and played Call of Duty. I didn't do anything,
Yeah.
just sat around and I gained a lot of weight, like more weight than I've ever had on me in my life, and um, yeah, I got really weak and I was tired all the time, and yeah. So yeah, it
I think you're breaking up
like
there.
you, like,
You're pixelating like R2D2.
Is it
We'll
good
pull up
now?
the chat. I can
It's
hear you there.
happening.
It's happening. Let's see if I can pull up the chat in case if you gotta bounce out, I can at least talk to chat people while you come back in. Everybody's at Red Dawn. Yeah, okay, I think you said that a while ago.
Yeah. And you can still see me and hear me?
Now, it's cleared up again. Yeah.
Okay. It's weird. I won't have any problems until I try to get on a live stream.
Oh yeah. Well, dude, that's just the way it goes. I mean, it's kind of like at work. You know, if we have some kind of like celebration thing where we're gonna get like some kind of catered in stuff. This happened this week. Inevitably, like catastrophic machine problems happen when we've been fine for months, and then there's a celebration, but oh, the machine shelled out. So
Yeah.
what can go wrong will go wrong.
Yeah. You know one thing I think one thing I saw one of these, like, I guess it's a stereotype that I didn't know about, that was that, well, I guess you talked about it because you were talking about Family Guy and other things like that, that being made out to be, just kind of dumb and not able to really, think very well. But that's one thing I think all men should do too. It's like, and I do, because I love philosophy. Like, I think men, uh, one, to combat that thought process, and then, it's also good for you to be well read, and to be, research things, and to know how to think. And
Right.
I think that's something really important as well.
Well, and it that might be part of like the problem overall, even just not to get into the political side of it too deep, but like critical thinking skills. I can remember a time in my early 20s where I know that I didn't have the critical thinking skills that I do today, and I've read a lot between now and back when I was 21. But like I
Yeah.
think a lot of American men don't don't have critical thinking skills, or if they do, it's not developed to the sharpness that they need to actually, especially fight off what is by design happening to the country now.
Right. Yeah. So I mean, like, with that, and with a lot of other things, like, people can't make these accusations at people that aren't that stereotype. But if you are, then you are.
Right,
If you're saying, if it's seen that men are an idiot and you're an idiot, well, I guess you're one of those men.
right. And it's kind of weird that I mentioned Family Guy because, dude, I like Family Guy. I've watched a lot of Family Guy, and I like The Simpsons. But
Yeah.
those were things that like there is an element of that oh, there's the stupid man, and in general the wife is smarter.
Hmm.
It's crazy that but it's subtle things like that I think that men take on those things when you get down to it. Like even Jackass, which when I was a kid I thought Jackass was the greatest thing ever. And me and some of my friends in high school, we filmed our own shit doing
I
that.
did too.
Of just retarded crap stuff. Honestly, some stuff could have got us really, really bad hurt or killed.
Yeah.
And it's like, looking back on that, I'm like, man, that was me being influenced by TV.
Hmm.
If I'm honest, and I'm having a come to Jesus moment, I was doing really dumb stuff, influenced by what I saw on the TV.
Absolutely.
It was fun. I'm not gonna lie, but
Oh yeah, totally.
there's some great stories. But still,
Yeah, it's like, I think I told you the first time I ever broke my leg. I think I was telling y'all, I rode my bike off the roof of my house.
oh my gosh, dude. I broke my arm on a tire swing, which that was just something my grandpa had set up. It was sort of a tire swings were a thing, and then now all of a sudden everybody's like, "Oh yeah, you break limbs on tire swings." In the last 20 or so years, like, "Oh yeah, we probably shouldn't do that anymore." But like when I was growing up, a young like single digit age kid, Man, tire swings were the cat's pajamas. We had them all over the place. But I broke my left arm on one.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't think we ever had one, but we had just like a rope with like a 2x4 with a hole drilled in it, and it just run through the middle.
Right. Well, and it kind of goes back to like the whole not being sedentary. Growing up, I didn't really have as much. I've always been big, but I didn't have as much of a weight problem or even like an anxiety disorder or any of that stuff. Because I remember as a kid, even up until I was like 15, I was running around in the woods every weekend, like
Hmm.
shooting anything that had eyes. We'd
Yeah.
go shooting squirrels and take them home, and like because my grandpa taught us how to shoot and clean and gut the squirrels and all that. And we'd take them home, and grandma'd fry them up and stuff like that. And I know some people think that eating squirrels that's like eating a rat, but it's not. But just stuff like that, where you got experience doing something in life. I think a lot of kids are missing that now, and I think that that's not going to pay off later.
Absolutely. And I was making the argument about that, and that's something that people can, and I think that's not an action that people can take too with raising the kids, especially your boys when it comes in to to this topic. Is I hear people say, well, I was talking to somebody at work, for example, the other day. I was like, when I was little, I'd get up in the morning before the sun come up, and I'd grab a shotgun. I was like 10 years old, run around with a single shot 20 gauge,
Right, all the
barefooted,
time.
literally, like in the woods, all day long until I wouldn't come back in until the sun started going down. And I knew my mom
Right,
had dinner on the table. Uh, and people say, well, that was a different time. Well, it wasn't really that long ago, and things aren't that different. What is different is us and the way we're looking at things. It's like they
yeah,
would probably be perfectly fine to do the same things you did growing up. And it would probably be really good for them. It's just in your head that times are different and they shouldn't be doing that.
right, yeah. I mean, I've only got a daughter at this point, but luckily she kind of likes some of the stuff that I like to do. I got a little like a lean-to built in my backyard, and I live in a town, but like so in this sort of residential rural town, I'm in a residential area, but I have a lean-to in the backyard and a cook area set up that me and my daughter sometimes go out there and cook stuff, over a
Mhm.
campfire. So she's getting practice knowing, okay, yeah, that's hot. You don't get close to that. She's learning the basics of not getting burnt while I get to like be there and kind of chaperone that, and she's learning a life skill. So I try to do stuff with my kid outside.
Yeah.
I think that that's going to go a long way, even if it's just in her life. If things went to crap, she'll know how to cook on a fire.
Yeah, I do the same with my kids as well. I've got like around my land, I think I've got, let's see, I've got like four different like keyhole like fireplaces like built, like big ones out with rocks that I've dug out of our land and stuff.
That's
Because no
awesome.
matter where I'm at, I usually need a fire for something. Like I've got one by the chicken coop where I'll set a pot, to boil chickens or what, like to scald them and
Yeah,
stuff like that. And then I got
yeah, I've done that.
a camp spot up on top of the hill above on the top side of our land, where of course I need a fire there, and then I got one right behind the house where me and the kids will go outside and cook. So there's always
Right,
there's always smoke bellowing off from our land.
right, dude,
But
that's awesome.
yeah. Uh,
That's,
so I think that's really, yeah. I mean that's an action people take too. Get out with your kids. That's a way to combat this whole attack too. Get out there, especially boys. Take your boys out and teach them manly skills and survival skills. Like I'll tell you, like
right,
me and my wife had a conversation the other day. My son just started school. He's only 5, but over the last year or so, I'm already getting him out, teaching him to shoot and stuff like that. And she thought he didn't need to be learning those things. And I was like, you know what? Like, yeah, he needs to be focused on school. He needs to be focused on learning and reading and all that stuff. But these are important skills that he needs to know too that kids aren't being taught anymore. A young
right,
boy should be taught how to hunt and how to defend himself and his family.
right. Well, when I was 5, I had, and this is a family story. I was sitting on my grandpa's lap. So this is by the time I was 5, I had already got ringed by a scope from an Eddystone 30-06. Is I was sitting on my grandpa's lap, and he was just teaching me how to shoot, and I pressed it up to the scope and touched that trigger off, and it busted my eye, and I was bleeding a little bit and all kinds of stuff. But like, that's a funny family story. Like, I'm glad that at 37, I'm glad that that happened to me, because I
Yeah,
get to remember that with my, that happened. But like, I'm not saying don't do dumb shit with guns, but like, kids can absolutely learn to shoot at 5. I've got my daughter a BB gun. That's kind of what I'm starting out on. She was preemie, so she's kind of tiny, so she doesn't really get the length of pull very good yet. But we've sit down with her in my lap and had her like aim and squeeze the trigger off and stuff like that. But she's still not quite big enough to handle it, just from the length size. But
right.
we're gonna work on that.
That's the same with my son. So like if I get down on my knees, he's the exact height of me, so I'll get on my knees in front of him and put the barrel over my shoulder and hold it still where he can't, like move it around and hold it
Right,
still. And yeah, same. He's too long. I'll put because he loves to shoot 22, and I think that's perfect caliber, But I'll
right,
hold on to that barrel so he can't move it around a whole bunch or shoot nothing, and he'll just
right,
practice pulling that trigger and feeling the recoil. And now he's not, he was afraid of it at first, and now he's not, and now he's always wanting to go out and shoot. And I think that's
right.
that's a positive thing.
Yeah, that's freaking awesome. Nothing wrong with that at all. Yeah,
Yeah.
I want to get my kid out and do even more of that type of stuff. Like she's starting to. Well, she's a girly girl, so some of that stuff she's not real into, like fishing. Yeah,
Hmm.
she likes the idea of fishing. She likes getting it on the line, but she does not like touching it when it comes out of the river. She is not into that at all.
My daughter's the same. She wants to go fishing all the time, but she will not touch a fish.
I keep trying to like inoculate my kid into doing, stuff that would be a life skill. But I guess it's just girls. It's kind of hard to get those man pastimes instilled in a girl. But either way,
Yeah.
as long as she doesn't wind up confused later on, if you know what I mean.
Right.
That's
Yeah.
job one. That's job one for dad.
Yeah. Yeah, so yeah, that's another good point I think we made right there is raise your kids to have those skills. That's definitely a way to fight the efforts that are being put in against us in the future. I think that's a good investment into the future. Obviously the kids
Right.
are gonna be the future, so
Yeah.
teach them those skills for sure.
Well,
Um,
and no, I don't want to cut you off. Go ahead.
I didn't know what I was about to say.
Oh, okay. Well, like I know in the chat earlier there was some talk of like the homeschool deal, and that's something me and my wife have tried to do, and I know that that's not something everybody can do. Like
Right.
that is a I mean, I'll just be honest. Homeschooling's a bitch. You know, it
Hmm.
sucks. But like, me and my wife decided that's what we wanted to do, and it's one of the things that can be done to combat. But at the same time, a good point that DLD made is that if we cede that ground, it's going to be harder to get it back because we are going to have to take it back.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? We are going to have to
Mhm.
take that back because that is one of the biggest problems is that the education system and the entertainment industry have been ceded to commies. So, we're going to have to do something to take that back.
Yeah, absolutely. Um, and I think too, it's like I know there's some people make the point that everyone should homeschool because all public schools are garbage. Um, I know that nonsense. I can honestly say, and because I've looked way into what they're teaching at our county schools and stuff like that. Fortunately, that stuff, that garbage that's going on around the country hasn't reached this area yet. So the good
Right.
thing is, like my kids' teachers, like they make sure to say a prayer before they eat lunch, and
That
every
is
time we,
cool.
we would go on, you know, I remember last year my daughter going on field trips. Uh, the teacher would gather them all around to pray when they first got off the bus that they would be safe on their field trip and all this kind of, and thank God for
That
giving
is
them these
cool.
opportunities and stuff. So you know, fortunately, there are still some, some school systems, smaller, rural school systems that are still good.
Yeah,
But I would definitely, if no matter what, I would recommend that everybody know what your children are being taught in school. Sure, there's too many
for sure.
people that just send their kids off to school. School's a babysitter, and they do not care or do not even look into what their kids are being taught. And I think that is absolutely terrible. You should know what your kids are being taught.
That and sometimes it's not even the teachers. Sometimes it's the kids' friends. Some of these kids' friends have parents that are skittle-headed commies too.
Yeah,
And that sometimes that's the avenue of how it gets to your kid. But like, yeah, I think by and large our local school system is actually pretty good. Like you had described. And
hmm
I can't be under the illusion that my kid at some point, like junior high era, isn't going to be like, hey, I want to go to public school. So I'm going to have to kind of. There's a point where you got to let that happen. She's got to have some social interaction, and we try to do that with like dance classes and extracurricular stuff as much as possible. But at the same time, don't provoke your children to wrath. There is a point you gotta point them in the right direction and bring them up with the right principles, but you also just can't shelter them completely from society. Uh,
yeah,
she'll probably want to go to high school, so I'm gonna have to prepare myself for that and just try to navigate
absolutely.
that by paying attention and being present at the school as far as like curriculum, things like that, and asking questions.
Yeah,
So
and I
so
think
that's a
too.
point. Holding our school's feet to the fire about things. That's a good point to make.
Absolutely. And I think too, like even if your kids are in public school or in a private school, in school period, outside of your home, it doesn't mean you can't teach them as well. It's like I know
Right.
before our kids went to school, as soon as they were forming sentences and everything, I was teaching them like the kids in elementary aren't really learning history, but I'm teaching my kids
No,
history now. You know, uh,
that's cool.
and then I think because I've thought about it too, it's like there's when I think about being taught history in school, that there's a lot of important things that aren't covered in public schools. And so I've been like
Yeah,
looking at those things and like trying to go ahead and instill, certain things into my kids, like, important history to learn that I know they're not going to learn in school because they're not going to learn everything that we think they should learn in school.
for sure. Yeah.
So like even if my kids don't have homework when they get home from school, we always go over things with them, and when we're out having fun or doing something out in the yard, I'll make sure to teach them those things that I know that they're not going to learn. Even stuff outside, like identifying plants, and my daughter knows what grows in our yard that can be ate and where it grows at what times of the year. So
That's cool.
that's great.
That's really cool. I need to brush up on that myself. Like finding things in my environment to eat in a survival situation.
Yeah. Good thing is, most things can be eaten. It's like, yeah, only a small percentage of stuff is poisonous.
Right.
Uh,
Yeah, and some of those things that we might not want to eat are actually probably really good for us. As far as like let's say like in the bug category, there's a lot you could get out of those. Not that I'm a big fan of that idea. I
yeah,
think I'd rather shoot things out of the sky until they didn't fly over anymore, and then I guess I'll be stuck with the bugs. But I got a lot of shotgun shells.
right. Uh, my daughter, every time, a lot of times we'll go outside, and she'll want to cook it, and sometimes I don't feel like messing with it, but she'll pick poke salad. She knows not to just eat it right off the plant, like just to eat it raw. But
Right.
the kudzu and all that other stuff, she'll just start grabbing it, stick it in her pockets, and eat it as a snack while we're playing outside and stuff. And it makes me so
That's
proud.
cool.
Yeah,
That
yeah.
is super cool.
Which I think is your kids being able to be self reliant like that. That's definitely a middle finger to the system and all this nonsense that they're trying to push.
Right. Yeah, dude. That's an invaluable thing for your kid to have that level of knowledge at I don't know her age, but at her age, being a
7,
young
she's
child.
7. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
that's freaking awesome.
Yeah. Um, there was a point I was going to make about something. I can't remember what it was now. What do you got next? Anything else we can?
I'll look on my little book here again.
We're
I
nerds.
did
We have notes.
write down teaching self reliance. Well, it's mostly because not that I joke that I'm ADD. I don't know if I'm ADD, but I'm pretty scatterbrained. Uh, so I'll forget points when I try to come up with them.
Yeah.
Uh, well, I did say stop denying biology and start being willing to hurt feelings over it. That's more of a
Yeah.
cultural thing. But
Yeah.
a lot of people don't want to hurt feelings by telling the truth, you know. And not to jump off in the Bible stuff here, but like loving your neighbor isn't telling them that the lie they believe is true.
Yeah. And that makes me think of the movie Kingdom of Heaven. When he's passing on to Balian or whatever, and he says, "Always speak the truth, even if it leads to your death." I always loved
Yeah.
that line from that movie. Yeah, you've seen that movie, right?
I'd be lying if I said I have.
Oh
I need to see
no.
it. Oh no. What was the thing that we were talking the other night that you said I needed to watch too?
Um.
It was like
Oh, Sicario.
Sicario? Yeah, okay, I need
Yeah.
to watch that too. Dude, there was a
Yeah.
long
Yeah.
period of my life where I didn't really watch a whole lot of like TV or movies and stuff until I got with my wife, and then we kind of watched what she liked. But there was like a whole decade's worth of movies, and I'm like, oh, I've never seen that. She's like, what?
Yeah.
Yeah, I never saw it.
So that's one thing I actually really like about Kingdom of Heaven too. Is it's about the Crusades. I don't know if you've ever even seen anything about. You've probably seen memes and stuff like the one I shared with
Yeah,
Saladin, where he's like,
yeah,
uh,
I know what they
"Salam
are, and
alaikum."
I've looked a little into it.
Yeah. So one thing I really like about that is like from both sides, whether it's from the Crusader side or from Saladin, is those are excellent displays of his like exemplary manhood. Of being a strong and capable yet empathetic and wise and understanding man. Like that's one of the things I really love about that movie. Like from both sides of the good guys and bad guys.
Right, dude. I might try to watch that tomorrow if I can remember. That'd be a good one to watch.
It's so good. I've watched it over and over and over again.
Man, what is the movie that I have watched more than anything else?
I know which one it
Probably.
is for me.
Let me think.
It's Last of the Mohicans for me.
Last of the Mohicans. I'm a little bit less sophisticated. I've probably watched Maximum Overdrive more than anything else throughout my life.
What is your
What a
camera
cheat,
doing?
dude! This is an iPad Air. It will follow me. Like
Oh, okay.
it's kind of weird. It's freaking me out as I'm watching it because this is the first time
It's
I've done a
zooming
live
in and
stream.
out. Is that what it's doing?
Yeah, but if I like move left or right, it'll try to follow me and keep me centered. It's freaking
Okay.
ridiculous.
See, I have a gimbal. I don't even know where it's at right now, but you know what I'm talking about? The gimbal that you put your camera in and stuff, where you can hold
Like,
it and it keeps your camera steady.
yeah, well, I think I got something similar to that. It's just like a clamp. Is that what you're talking about, where you put your phone
Well,
in?
it's kind of like this, but it's like electronic and it's got different modes. But you put it in there and you hold your camera with it, and if you move this way, it'll stay leveled straight up. So
Oh,
like it,
that's
it
cool.
automatically corrects and stays centered and stays level. But it has a
Now,
mode on it like that where the camera will actually move and follow whatever you lock it onto, which is nice because sometimes I can record videos where it looks like there's a cameraman, but there's not.
yeah, I actually built a tripod with a phone clamp from one of those stupid selfie sticks, and that's my camera tripod. Like 90% of my videos have been filmed on that.
Nice.
I've
I've got
got one of
like
those,
5 different ones that I use depending on where I'm at and what I'm doing.
right? I've been wanting to do some video shooting and stuff, just Not really. I don't know. I don't want to get into doing too much of that and wasting a bunch of ammo that's expensive right now. I need to get a dry fire set up bad,
Yeah, you
but
need to get you Manus X
I do. I do. I've
or
been to the website
Manus
and been looking
Blackbeard
at
for
it.
the rifle. Huh?
I've been looking at them. I really want one. I just haven't had the extra coin. But
Yeah,
I did buy a like a head clamp. I've been thinking about trying to do some like first person like bushcraft type videos and even some shooting videos and stuff like that with the thing on and just doing short things like that and seeing if I even like filming that way. But just
yeah,
talking while I'm doing it and all that stuff. I think that'd be fun.
right. Well, you need to head over. You need to get apply for the affiliate deal with Manus. Then you can get one for free, like Red Dawn just did.
Yeah,
I sent him the link and he went and got him one.
dude, I don't know. I guess I don't even know how to get an affiliate deal really. I've got
I'll send you the link.
I'm cool. That'd be cool. Because I would totally pimp that because I already love it. I want one.
Yeah,
You
they're
know.
nice. They're nice. I'm not gonna lie. uh, which once again, I always say this because there's always the haters in the creeping in the comments. I do not promote stuff that I don't like and I think works and that you
Right.
don't need. Period.
Right. Like I've got knives that I have bought with my own money that didn't get a positive review because I spent money on it.
Yeah.
If somebody's giving me something for free, if I think it's decent, if I think it's going to hold up, cool, I'll say that. But I'm not going to be like, well, this is the greatest thing of all time. It's the best backpack I've ever had. These are the most durable Fastex buckles I've ever seen on a backpack. No, I'm not. I have integrity. If
Yeah.
I'm going to review something, I'm going to give my honest opinion of it.
Hmm. Yeah, I mean, I've had a lot of stuff sent to me, like especially optics from places like Fiatchi and other places like that that
Yeah.
broke when I was putting them on the rifle, and I just didn't even do a review on it. So if you see me doing a review on something, it's probably because I like it. If I didn't like it, I'd just throw it in the trash and you'd never even hear about
Right. If somebody sent me an optic, I wouldn't like try to break it, but at the same time, I would probably get it set up and then get it sighted in and everything, and then immediately take my gun and drop it on the ground because that's what's actually going to happen if you got into a gunfight.
it.
You might end up dropping your gun, or you might end up trying to run for cover and running into the side of a building. You know.
Yeah. Hmm.
So, I mean, at a
Absolutely.
certain point, you're gonna have to go out there and slap that stuff around. If you don't pressure test it, that's not a review.
Right. Absolutely. Yeah, that's why when I did that backpack reviews or backpack unboxing of CV Life, it's like I'm gonna have to come back with a full fledged review once I've actually used it.
Right. Like, is it they've talked about sending me something, and I don't know what that's gonna be. Watch it be the same backpack.
Probably.
But like, I'm already thinking if they send me something, I'm gonna put like 40 or 50 pounds in it, and I'm gonna try to take it on multiple rucks before I even make a video. And if it's uncomfortable, I'm gonna say it's uncomfortable. Now that could be my build, or that could be the bag. You know what I mean? If the zippers suck, I'm gonna say the zippers suck.
Yeah, absolutely. Um, what's crazy too is like I've got a what was it, Fox Tactical? They don't even make this pack anymore, but they had a recon pack, is what it was called. And it's what
Yeah.
I've taken it out in the national forest, like so like that's the pack I've used for like 15 years. And like ever since I got out of the Marine Corps, I've used this pack. And I ordered it. Somebody had a Ranger Joe's magazine, and it pained me to order from that magazine since it's army, centric. But I ordered this, but the pack was recon, like it, so it made me think of Marine recon. So I was like, okay, I can order this pack, but nothing else.
Oh my gosh,
So,
that's
but
funny.
this pack, even though it was only like $40, and people said, "Oh, Fox Tactical's trash," that pack has held up longer than anything I've ever had that I've carried out in the woods.
Dude, the most abused backpack I have is a Fieldline Tactical, which should have disintegrated long ago, and it's still holding up. Like I've had it in my truck. I've wrecked it. I've left it outside in a sleet storm, and it froze completely solid. I mean, everything that can happen to a backpack has happened to this thing, and it's roasted in the sun in my truck, and I've had it for like 10 years. I've spray painted it 4 times now. It's held up. Now, am I saying it's 511 quality? No. But would I tell somebody to go buy a Field Line Tactical uh, 511 knockoff? Yes, I would.
Yeah. Uh, hey, I was thinking about something just a second ago, like it was off topic, but than what we were just talking about. But back to the topic of manliness. Um, One thing I noticed earlier, looking something up, or looking this stuff up, seeing what other people were saying, was that people were talking about challenging gender roles, and
Oh
that's what they
gosh.
said. That was along the lines of how to recover from manliness, was challenge traditional gender roles. That's what they were telling people to do. Uh, and I would say this to men is step up and lead your families,
Right.
and fuck what anybody thinks about you. You're supposed, you being the head of the household and this and all that nonsense. As men, I think we've got to step up and lead our families.
Yeah, and you can lead your family without being a freaking tyrant, you know.
Absolutely, yes.
But the people who want to tear down manliness want to think that any male leadership is just a tyranny. That's why we have all these stupid handmaid tale freaking memes by these skittle-headed feminists and crap, and it's just like that's not the case.
Yeah, and I know I had a former stepbrother who was a stay at home dad. I'm opposed to that idea. What I don't know what you think about that.
I don't think I could have self-respect doing that.
Right.
Like there's just a low. Dude, I lost my job one time. It was because I worked for a temp service, and I had like worked there long enough that like if you're there for 2 years, you have to go like cycle back through. So I couldn't, even though I didn't get fired or anything. They're like, oh well, you've been on this job long enough, and that's the job cycle, and you can come back in 6 months. But I didn't want to take any of the other crappy jobs, and like I felt more worthless at home for 2 weeks than at any other point in my entire life.
Right.
Just not hitting a lick. And I'm not saying if somebody's injured, that's a totally different thing, or everybody's got a different situation. But like if you're a capable guy and you're not hitting a lick at all, that is a problem. That is a serious problem.
Right. Absolutely. Yeah, saying I agree. Like, yeah, if you're injured or something like that, it's like for me, I did go about 6 months after I quit my job, not with a regular job, but that didn't mean I wasn't doing anything or taking care of things. It's like,
Right. You don't have to have a wage slave job to be taking care of your family either, you know. I mean, if you were
right,
homesteading and doing all the stuff that you needed to do to make sure your family was fed and the lights were on, and that's that's not any it's not anybody else's business. If you're getting the job done, who cares?
yeah. And for those of the religious persuasion, I think this goes. It's definitely a point to be made. Whether you're Jewish, Muslim, Christian, it doesn't matter. Of the Abrahamic religions, this is what is this Timothy 5:8. But those who won't care for their relatives, especially those in their own house, have denied the true faith. Such people are worse than the unbelievers. And I've also seen the translation worse than the infidel. Doesn't matter. Same thing, means the same thing.
That went through my head while I was saying something a while ago, and I just didn't quote it. But yeah, that's a thing.
Yeah, and that's how I've always thought of that when I think of these stay-at-home dads, or It's like you're as a man, you are to be the head of your household, and you were supposed to be the breadwinner. You were supposed to be providing for your family. That is your role as a man. And I don't care whose feelings it hurts. You know what I mean? Saying, "Oh,
Yeah.
well, that's the tradition. That's the
Yeah.
gender role bullshit." Like whatever. That's the way it is.
I mean, I think that there are some dudes that, are into some sort of home business where they can work from home, and that's still getting the job done though. That's still
Yeah,
taking care of your family.
absolutely. Yeah, because you think too. I mean, like back in those days, there could be plenty of men who were not working outside the home or off their land. They were farming and taking care of things, but didn't have a traditional job as we do today. But still, the point remains they're providing for their families, however that is.
DJ.
Yeah. Well, we'll have to throw that up there since everybody always pops up my gay flags. We'll pop up the eggplant.
Got to get the eggplant in there. Equal time for DJ.
DJ is a feminist, and he thinks that manliness is toxic as well. For anybody who didn't know that, um, and that's one thing too. I could say is like, and there are some women in here. I don't know if they're here right now, but Virginia Roots. I don't know if you're here at the moment. She likes to creep in the shadows and not say anything. The milkmaid might be here. I don't know because she does the same thing, but um, but that one of them messaged me after we released the last video and said they agreed with what we were saying. They thought it was a really good video, and that was a good topic and good points. Uh, Feminism is a bunch of garbage. And you're not saying that women shouldn't have rights or anything like that. That's not what I'm saying at all. But it tries to make people equal that aren't equal in some ways. Like we were talking about Thomas Sowell the other day. Thomas Sowell said I read a quote that something he said the other day that has stuck in my head. And I'm really not usually good at memorizing things, but this quote I thought was so profound that I didn't forget it. But he said we something to the effect of we try to make people equal, but equality is nonsense. Some days I'm not even equal to myself, and
Right.
I like that a lot. 'Cause, like tomorrow I could wake up and be like so productive and way better of a person than I was today. And people aren't equal in so many different ways. And men
Well,
and
and we're not.
women are not equal. They should be treated equal under the law, but
Yeah.
not. But they are not the same.
Well, and it's by design. There are things that like my wife is way better at certain things than I am. So but vice versa. There are things that
Hmm.
I excel at that she isn't any good at. We're supposed to complement each other. We're not supposed to be butting heads and arguing over who gets to do what to be the most masculine in the house. We're supposed men and male and female are supposed to be complementary and work alongside each other.
Yeah, absolutely. This is a profound point. Make dick and fart jokes great again. Need to add that to the list of things that we can do to fight the attack on manliness.
You crop dusting. We need to start crop dusting.
Yes, unapologetically. What's this? I haven't read this, but I'm going to put it up where I can actually see it. Instruct young women in sensibility to love their husbands, to love their children, to be sensible, pure workers at home, kind, being subject to their own husbands. I dig it. And one thing too that I want to encourage men to realize that, like you just said, or like you said earlier, you don't roll your house like a tyrant. The wife is to be subject to their husband, so that doesn't mean he's supposed to run all over and treat her like a slave. You know,
Yeah, there's even, and I wish I had wrote this down, but there's a verse in one of Paul's letters where it talks about husband and wives submitting to one another.
yeah,
And granted, it's even talking about like bedroom duties and things like that. But at the same time, it's not that you're like that one is to be a ruler in the sense of like you're not supposed to be a tyrant in either direction, but that you're supposed to mutually coexist in a loving manner, just like love your neighbor as yourself, or speak the truth in love. You can speak the truth and not be in love too. So
yeah,
a lot of it comes down to where you're coming from on the inside. If they're a
yeah,
piece of crap, you're probably going to be a tyrant. If you care about your family, you're not going to treat them like shit.
yeah, absolutely. But that, yeah, that's the whole. And like I say, I've said this in the video, and I think we both mentioned it, but I think the whole feminine or the whole feminist movement is so terrible, and it's so detrimental to our ideas of manliness and men. So
It's
my
detrimental to women.
yeah, it is. Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And I was thinking about, I thought about that earlier, and then of course when I go to say this, I didn't say that, but uh, it's detrimental to society as a whole, and women have a an interest in upholding and supporting good, solid manliness as well.
And some of them understand that. There are some of them out
Absolutely.
there that understand that. But at the same time, I mean, men should be supporting. I don't want to be with a manly woman. We should be, those traditional gender roles should go both ways. Those are beneficial. I would rather be with a feminine woman. I don't want some butch with a faux hawk with three different colors of hair that thinks that she ought to rule absolutely everything, and that I'm a piece of trash.
Yeah. Absolutely. There are far too many of there's far too much of that going on out there. And I tell you, like I see these women who post things on social media and say like, "I don't need no man." Well, you know what? Well, then you're probably not going to get one. You're probably not going to get one, and if you do, you're not going to keep one. Because I can't stand seeing that garbage posted all over the place.
Well, and that's what I mean by feminism, and I mean like the third wave, on woman hear me roar feminism. Some people would say that like the women's suffrage movement or whatever, them wanting to have rights is feminism. To me, that's not even feminism. That's not trying to usurp anything. That's just trying to be equal under the law. But like this third wave of these psycho hose beasts out here, dude, none of them are happy. When they get their
Right?
way, they're miserable. None of those people are happy. They're some of the most offended people on God's green earth.
Yeah,
So tell
absolutely.
tell me how great it is if you're never even happy.
Yeah, totally offended by everything.
Microaggressions. The fact that microaggressions is even a word. Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
you microaggressed on my rulership, or whatever. There's just so many dumb concepts that have come out of the social justice feminist, skittlehead movement.
Skittlehead.
Well, dude, the different colors of hair, or dude, there was this one lady, and this was at the World Economic Forum. There was her hair, and it was like purple and pink, but it was just the same, like as the division down the box of nerds. Did you see that meme?
No.
Yeah, the purple and the pink nerds. Her hair was split right down the middle, and it was exact same like tone of color and everything. And this is crazy. So I started calling them skittleheads, even though it was nerds. But I think people get what I'm saying.
That's funny
It's preferable to other things that as a Christian, I should probably refrain from saying. I need to watch my language, so I'm working on that. I'm by far not. I have not arrived at taming the tongue.
though. You mean to tell me you're not perfect?
Right. Yeah.
Well, that's disappointing.
Totally disappointed. I'm totally shocked. I'm totally shocked.
Uh, hey everybody, so we're going it right at an hour. You good to take a break right quick?
Yeah, yeah, cool.
All right. I don't know if you had anything to run off and do or whatever, but
I
um,
could handle going and taking a leak, that's for sure.
that's exactly the point. So everybody, since we were talking about Kingdom of Heaven while we go on this break, I thought there was hi. It's blurry, but I was talking. I wanted something good and manly to put up here in Kingdom of Heaven. This meeting between Saladin and them is very manly moment. So we'll be back in about, what do you say, 5 minutes? Is that good?
Yeah, yeah, works
All
for
right,
me, bro.
everybody, everybody, chill out. we have returned.
Hath returned.
Ah,
Gonna do.
the picture in the background there. The good old days when men rode into battle and stood what they are and fought for what they stood for.
I think it may become unavoidable here.
Yeah. Um, something I was thinking about. Uh, I was when I went outside to smoke too, but while I was standing out there, I thought too about something I was thinking about the other day. You were talking about these like women who act manly. You saying you don't want a manly woman. Um, on that note too, and on the note that we were just talking about, um, there that seems to be a going thing. Like I was talking about these, I don't need no man and these boss bitch. Like I've seen
Oh
these
yeah.
shirts that say boss bitch and stuff like that. It's like dudes. I would say I think in order to combat this culture and everything, stay away from those kind of women.
No doubt. Well, I mean, those are the kind of women that like, and I've seen this happen where some dude will get with some chick and they don't have the same values, and they end up creating another human being that gets stuck in the middle of it, and some of these toxic women will weaponize that kid and that relationship against the dad after the two adults relationship disintegrates.
Yeah,
Really bad situation.
absolutely. And I've made the mistake of being in very short relationships with women like that. And I tell you now, like the moment something like that comes out of a woman's mouth, I will never take her serious, and she can go away immediately because I'm not going to waste any of my time on a woman that's like that.
Right. Like
Um,
me and my wife have talked about, like, just theoretically, if something were to happen to one of us or we were to split up, like both of us just straight up honestly were like, I don't know that I would be with anybody else because I just don't want to learn anybody else's bullshit. To be quite honest, I don't know that I have the bandwidth for that.
yeah,
Like I've got a daughter. Dude, I would take another kid in a heartbeat. I love being a dad, but like I just don't know that I even care to try to start over and learn an entire another human being's proclivities. I just don't want to do it.
absolutely.
Me and my wife have been
uh,
together since 2007. So it's been a long-standing deal, and it's like, man, I just don't envision a future where if that ends, that I hang out with anybody else for such a period of time.
yeah. And on that point too is like I think if anybody is like going into a relationship or anything like that, make sure and of course a way to sort of combat this whole thing is be with a woman who shares the same values as you that will follow that will not constantly argue against everything you say or do and all those kind of
Right.
things that will work with you and support you as a spouse should because this whole culture of this whole boss bitch, I don't need no man, blah blah blah. I can do anything a man can do. It's so toxic and so damaging.
I think that it's well, we know that it's part of an operation to bring things down, but like, and this kind of goes back again to the chat earlier where I don't know if you read all that where I was talking to DLD a little bit,
I didn't see it. No,
and
I was busy at the moment.
as we were just talking about, my brain's farting on me right now. I had it and I lost it. Um, oh, okay. The left tries to get their people more invested. They want to de-incentivize children. Like the left, the way that they can get revolutionaries is by breaking them having attachments to like actual family and having skin in the game of something that would stop them from from pushing forward the leftist religion of their politics. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
And that's why abortion is such a popular thing on the left, and different things like that. Because parents with kids, they're not looking to go get into a hot conflict. You know, you and I are probably not going to be involved in anything that we're not forced into because we have other people we're responsible for.
Yeah.
You know, and that's not the case with lefties. You know, and if they do have kids, and those kids end up a lot of times either being a victim of parents with conflicting worldviews, and then they end up confused, or they go with one of them, and then they did bring another. You've got a future Antifa, kid going through high school being indoctrinated.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, you're right about that whole, going out and into a fight or whatever. I was talking to Risky about that a while back, and we both kind of said the same thing that uh, basically if it's not outside of my county, then somebody else is gonna have to deal with it.
Well, like, yeah, I mean, my job one is to make sure that my household is safe. If I had to go insulate my county against, let's say, I mean, I know this, I feel like this is a bit unrealistic. Maybe I'm wrong on that, but if Red Dawn happened one county over, yeah, I'll grab my stuff and I'll go that county over, and we'll rally up with whoever's slinging lead that direction, you know. But like, I'm not looking to go get in any kind of conflict that isn't a direct threat to my location or my family.
Absolutely. Yeah, and even if I did, I would make sure that my family was safe and with somebody that was going to take care of them first. Sure.
Right. And a lot of people, I think even people in the preparedness, they're in the preparedness space, but they're not actually prepared. They bought a gun, and they've got some pew pew stuff, but probably don't have any ammo. All these people that think that they want to go get into this are not ready for that. You know,
Yeah.
they're not ready to, as far as their family being taken care of. They're not even ready to. They probably don't even have a hygiene kit in their kit. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's how unready these people actually are.
Right. Absolutely. So, let's see. So what else? What else can we do? Is there anything else we can do to fight this nonsense? I'll
You
think
know,
of
I
something.
do.
I'll think of all kind of stuff after we're not after we're not
Oh
live anymore.
yeah, right. Well, I think that, and granted, you know, I'm a man with a particular religious belief, but I think that whatever belief system you have, you should probably find people that are like-minded in that belief system to start a life with. You know, because I think
Mm.
that at the end of the day, things like religion bring people more close knit than a lot of other things. If that
Yeah.
makes sense.
Yeah, and you're
Be it
likely going to have a lot of arguments and disagreements on things because chances are your worldview and everything is different.
right. Like I could not be with somebody who believed in abortion. Like I just would not do that.
Yeah. So
I couldn't be with somebody who honestly didn't share my faith either. You know, and that's not being a douchebag. I just take that seriously enough that
right.
I'm not going to build a life with somebody that isn't in agreement on that.
Yeah.
Or gun rights. You know, gun rights is a deal breaker. You know, if I somehow, not that I'm a hot commodity, but if I ended up on the market, gun rights is going to be one of the things I'm going to have to come into agreement with somebody on.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. I remember one time I was dating a girl for a few months, and I never even thought to ask, but all of a sudden one day I said something, and she said, "Oh, well, I don't believe in God," and I immediately said, "Oh, well, I can't be with you anymore." It was fun while it lasted. Like, that was
Yeah,
that was the end of it.
But yeah, yeah, it's just like, well, like if you believe something, then you like if you actually believe in a religion, you have internalized that as part of your worldview. That's why, like, I can't talk politics without even having some sort of vague allusion to what I believe because it informs what I think about things.
Yeah,
You know.
absolutely. Yeah, I've thought too, like, if it's somebody I've thought about that a lot. Like, if it's somebody that's maybe of a different denomination or something like, there could be conversations that there's some middle ground. But if it's somebody that just
Right.
straight up does not believe in God at all, I can't, I can't.
Yeah. Right. I mean, I've got friends from because I grew up in a Baptist church, but I'm not necessarily Baptist. I'm like non-denominational Protestant Christian at this point. You know the
Yeah.
basics. But I'm friends with Pentecostals. I'm friends with Baptists. I'm friends with whatever. You know, if even you know Seventh Day Adventists, different things like that. I don't just take somebody and be like, oh, he's a Seventh Day Adventist. I can't be friends with him. That's stupid. You know.
Hmm. Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, I've even had Muslim coworkers that we don't necessarily get on the topic of religion, but some of those are great people. Like
Absolutely.
some of the
Yeah.
nicest people I've ever met were Muslims, and then there's some. I've met a couple of buttholes, but
Yeah. With anybody.
yeah,
Yeah. It's the same. Like, I've always said that too, and people can disagree with me. All that you can disagree with me. It's fine. I don't care. But that's my thing when it comes to, if I were to find another, if I were to end up in another relationship, you have to be of one of the Abrahamic religions as your basis. Like, you have to be
yeah,
Muslim, Jewish, or Christian, because you have to believe in God. You have
yeah.
to believe in one God. Uh, Outside of that, deuces.
I
Not that I
do
won't be your
feel
friend. We can be cool, but
right. I can be friends with anybody. You know,
yeah,
I mean, I can be nice to anybody. You know, I mean, I can be nice to the they them at the gas station. You know, it doesn't bother me. I'm not
yeah.
they them.
That-
I hate that. I'm just saying that because it's probably more conducive to YouTube, and I don't want to get you yeeted for something.
I don't
But
care.
well, I guess I just got my yeet cherry broken today by having my video taken down. And I was like, oh, what the hell's up with
Yeah,
that? When I did absolutely nothing. There was
yeah,
nothing violent, and I'm just like, how did that happen? But
yeah.
anyway,
I've got.
that's an aside point.
I've only got one strike. I have two more lives, so I'm good.
Yeah, mine said it was just a warning and not a strike because I was able to even post a short, thanking
Yeah,
all the new people that showed up and stuff. So apparently it wasn't that bad. But dude, I even because I still had the video that they had took down, and it had a timestamp. So I went and looked at the timestamp, and I almost said nothing. I shifted a gun while I was talking, but I didn't point. There was nothing crazy. I mean, the most tamest of risky Krisky rants wasn't even anywhere that I had approached during that
hmm,
entire thing. You know,
yeah,
it was just, when you posted something that was like it's happening, I'm like, what the hell? Like I haven't paid much attention to the YouTube rules, so I just know certain things that might get me yeeted that I try not to do. But I should probably go reread the newest batch of commie edicts coming down.
yeah. I knew those new rules were coming out, but I haven't done anything different. That might change tomorrow because I got a patrolling video I'm going to do tomorrow because I haven't done any of those kind of videos in a while. But that's because
Yeah.
because of my broken ankle over this year. But we'll see what happens to that video when I when I release it.
Well, like honestly though, if Trench Grenade put something out today and he didn't get yeeted and he's using a gun, I think I should be fine with my rant. Not that Trench
Yeah,
Grenade's doing anything wrong, but like that's true blue gun content. I was just standing there in kit with a gun after going out and doing some stuff in the woods.
yeah. I remember. I don't know if you were there, but I did a interview with a or that dude with the guy I know named the guy Scott who was in the army, and as soon as I picked up the AK, the video shut off.
Oh my
Like
gosh.
the algorithm is on it.
Dude, and that's another thing that BLD talked me into today was just the freaking get a Rumble. I do want to start doing some lives, and you can apparently you can hold a gun on a live on Rumble.
Yeah, yeah. I don't think
You
they got
know,
any stupid rules. The only problem is like me and Randall keep saying everybody was hitting me in the comments saying get on Rumble. Did the same thing to Randall. I went over and followed him. He out of his like what he's going on 200,000 now. He's got like 200 followers, and I have like 20. It's like everybody
right?
wants us to go
Yeah.
there, but they're not there.
I just want my content backed up, even if
Yeah,
it's just so I can re-download it. But at the same time, if something got built, like okay, if we all got yeeted off of YouTube with these new rules, we would at least have a place to go rebuild from with our content base. So that's kind of why I want to do it.
yeah. That's why I've wanted to for a while. I've wanted to get together with, like with everybody and start like a whole nother website. Like in so where no one can tell us anything.
Right. Yeah, that takes a. I think Jaeger did that. Liber TV. I
Hmm.
think Jaeger did that, but it's only for his content, which I kind of get. I mean, hosting is expensive, so
Yeah,
yeah, having to host all your stuff.
yeah. So yeah, I mean, like at the end of the day, what one big thing that I think that everybody has to do to combat this whole attack on manliness is to not play the game, like do the things that we know we should do, and screw what
Right.
all these people say about it.
We, in terms of playing the game, we should not play the game when we're being told to play the game, but when the game presents itself in ways that we're not able to opt out, we should totally play the game. Like
Yeah,
what
yeah,
Randall was talking about, with the
yeah,
whole tell us, are you the white devil? I can't go
yeah.
down that rabbit hole too far, but you know what I'm talking about.
Hmm. So for anybody
There
that
are
doesn't know, like when you go into YouTube Studio, there will be these uh what do you call them? Those like surveys that they do to see what content creators all about, and it'll ask you if you were gay, bisexual, lesbian, if you're transsexual, and all these questions, which is crazy because you know what they're going to boost those channels. If you answer yes, you're getting a boost.
and I'm gonna play the game.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. We are
So
totally gay
totally, totally.
according to
Shared
YouTube.
an ice cream cone with 6 men yesterday. No.
Yeah, yeah. Well, and that goes back to like what me and you were talking about a while back, and we've said in the chats before too. And and people didn't like me saying it in a live one day is the fact that the other side is uses language very carefully, and this side tends to not, and isn't very good at culture and
Yeah.
using language properly to advance our causes.
Right. Yeah. Speaking of that culture thing, I'm brainstorming just kind of a video on talking about the problem of the right not having the ability to do culture right, because I think that we're gonna have to, and I think that plays into what we're talking about tonight. We're gonna have to start creating culture,
Mm,
beyond gun tuber survivalist videos, and I enjoy doing this. This kind of is culture for us, I think. I really do think that, but like as far as like changing society, we're gonna have the right's gonna have to have their own bread and circuses and their own propaganda.
yep.
Propaganda can be true or false, and it can be for a good cause or a bad cause. Let's just make ours true and for a good cause. You're just
Yeah.
propagating a message.
Yep. It's psychological warfare, and we suck at it for the most part, and we have to be better at it.
Well, we can see it. Like people like you and me, we can see it. Like the old Leo DiCaprio meme. That's bait. Yeah, well, we've got to do something other. We've got to start putting our own bait out.
Yeah. And I've said too before, and it's the thing that people don't like is that how you say things, like you can present our point. And, if you just come out and say certain things, these people that are like Democrat leaning or even center, um, or not even, I don't want to say that, not even Democrat, screw
Moderates.
party. Yeah. I don't, screw the parties, but like moderate or liberal. Um, they're not going to register what you're saying, or it's just going to confirm to them that you're a crazy conservative. But if there's a way we
Right.
can show, some tact and word that, soften up that language and use language well, that might be something that would, you might could say it in a way that would, make the light
Right.
bulb come on in their mind.
Well,
Like we're saying, no, I'm not saying lie or be manipulative, but
right.
careful about how you're presenting things.
For sure. Are you familiar with Lauren Southern?
No. Mm-mm.
Okay, she's like a right wing kind of. She's a Canadian, but she's a right leaning commentator, and she had said this, and I agree with it. Not that we need to be caught up in emotionalism because we've kind of talked about that, but women and just people are emotional. The right is going to have to take that into account because yeah, there's the meme of, oh yeah, facts don't care about your feelings. Well, people vote with their feelings, so we're gonna have to factor that in how.
Okay. I don't know what just happened. Was that he just vanished? Is it just for me, or can anybody else? Is he gone on everybody else's end too?
What's
He's
up?
back.
Cool. Yeah, I was just starting to look at the chat. I saw that you like didn't blink for a minute, and I'm like, all right, he's froze.
Oh, I thought on my end, you just went away.
I just went away too, huh? Yeah, that must have been a hiccup in the overall thing going on.
Yeah.
There's Lynchpin Supply in the
Yes.
chat.
Cody 6. What's up? Everybody head over to lynchpin.supply and get you some sweet clothes and some gear.
Yeah, he's
Uh
got such good like advertisements in the way it's filmed.
he does, man. I've said that 100 times. If they do not have, my gosh, what is happening? Somebody tell me what's going on. Am I freezing or is he going away? I don't know what's happening. Uh but yeah, I've said, well, when he comes back, I'll tell him what I was going to say, but I don't know what's going on.
We're being cyber attacked. No, we're not.
Probably. But yeah, I was saying, yes, I agree with you. Their videos and whatever filter they're using and everything is awesome. I
It
love
it
their
really
videos, and
is.
they
I
should
wish
have.
my stuff looked that good.
Yeah, I've asked him. I don't remember if you answered me, Cody 6. You got to tell me what the dude that's doing y'all's videos, what that filter and stuff is, because it looks so awesome. Like y'all should. I say it every live when he comes in, but they should have way more subscribers than they do.
Yeah, I've subscribed to his channel. I've watched his stuff. It kind of blows my mind the amount of like how few subscribers are on there, but how good all the content is. Like how it has that not been subbed up into oblivion.
Yeah, it's better than, I think it's better than a lot of gun tuber content. It's
Hell
funny,
yeah,
it's entertaining, it's like it's everything.
dude. The Hawk commercial with the
Yeah.
heaven is a place on earth, dude. I laughed like shrieking, laughed out loud at work the first time I saw that on Instagram.
Yeah. The have you seen their Halloween heist commercial for the
Yeah,
Halloween heist
yeah,
hoodies? It's so
yeah,
good. They're in the vehicle and everything, and it's
yeah.
short, but it's awesome.
And it got that. I keep forgetting it's like a deuce and a half or something, and it's a local thing. Because I've seen it at the dollar store in my town. I forget the name of that freaking decorated up deuce and a half, whatever it is, vehicle they have in one of the videos that I don't know why that is. It's
Yeah.
like slipping my mind. Do you know what I'm talking about though?
No, I don't know what you're. I'm not sure what you're talking about.
Man, you should go look through his videos. There's this like military truck that they have in some of their videos, and it's a local thing that's on Instagram. Can't quite remember the damn name of that thing though. Either way, it's cool. It must have been a collab with him and that dude, but
Yeah.
I don't think it's called the Juggernaut. It's something else, but it's huge. It's awesome.
Yeah, they should definitely have way more subscribers for sure.
Right. I need to go over there when I've got a little extra coin and buy a hoodie because fall's coming and those hoodies are pretty badass too.
They are, yeah. I'm gonna be wearing the crap out of my British DPM like jacket that he sent me. That stuff's nice. It's so
Yeah,
comfortable too. It feels like pajamas.
pajamas.
But yeah, I can't think of anything else to say on that point though of
Yeah,
how to combat it at all. Can you? Like I said, I will when we're not live anymore.
right. I think that my bandwidth on that has been spent.
Yeah, me too.
If I had more stuff written down, I could probably go on, but I just between getting my kid to bed, I just didn't really have a whole lot of time to gather my thoughts. So,
Same. I did like I think like 10 minutes before we got on here. I was like I
dude,
just sat down and thought.
well, a lot of it, I know I've got a bunch of stuff. I've just got to sit down and let my mind run for a minute. Because, yeah, I did the 10 minutes leading up to. That's pretty much all I did. And I was like, man, I wish I'd have put a little more effort into this, but I just didn't have the time with my kid. But,
Yeah, I think at the end of the day, yeah, it's just do the things that as men we know we should do.
yeah,
Eh, eh,
some of this is just common sense.
Yeah, absolutely. So like some of the things we talk about is like eating better. You know, that's always good for you. Solve problems, help others. Don't be ruled
Right,
by emotions. Staying active, being educated, raise your kids to have these manly skills. Know what your kids are
right,
learning at school. Teach them yourself. Being honest, telling the truth, standing for something, leading your families, and say choosing good women who share your values. I think those are all
right.
pretty good ways to fight it all.
I think something, and this kind of touches on some of that list, but like a culture of reading. I think that men need to have a culture of reading. I can't do audiobooks very well. I can do podcasts, but like I retain stuff better actually just reading a book.
Mhm.
And I think that a lot of dudes would fare better in life and in their thought processes doing doing more reading.
Yeah, absolutely. And I've always recommended because I did it years ago. But if you ever are you familiar with the art of manliness?
Yeah, the podcast.
Yeah, like joining their program. Because I felt like I was kind of getting in this rut about 5 years ago or so, and I joined the Art of Manliness program, the Strenuous Life. I used to have my patches from that up here for all my merit badges because it's basically like Boy Scouts for grown men. But if you got like the $200 to spare to join the program, it's freaking worth it. It's a year long program, and it really gets you have to read a lot, you have to study a lot, and it really gets you going, like forming physical and like mental, routines and stuff, and it's really awesome.
Right. Lynchpin said it's called the Dreadnought. That's exactly right. This is the Dreadnought. And it's super cool. You should go look that up on Instagram. It's pretty sweet. The first time I saw it, it was at the dollar store in my town. I was like, holy crap. Just cool.
Yeah, well, he's in Arkansas, right?
Yeah, I don't exactly know where he's at, but we're not really far away.
Yeah, yeah, I think they're in Arkansas. Yeah. I was telling Randall the other day, other than flying out to 29 Palms, California, I have never been west of the Mississippi.
West of the Mississippi.
Yep.
Well, I don't think that Arkansas is very great, but like as far as I mean, there's parts I like Northwest Arkansas, and I like some like there's my wife's got some family, in like North Central Arkansas. It's pretty cool, but I don't know. When I got down around Pine Bluff, because we went on vacation last year to Panama City Beach, and that's when we went through Birmingham and all that stuff too. But like Pine Bluff freaking sucks. Little Rock sucks. Memphis sucks.
Oh yeah, Memphis definitely sucks.
What was that place? Uh, Mississippi. Jackson, Mississippi sucks.
Yeah. Bill Gates says he's going to stay in Alabama. I feel you, man.
Is that his real name? That dude? Well, I don't know.
I
I
don't
guess
know.
Bill, every time I see Bill Gates, I think of maybe the wrong Bill Gates. I'm sure there's more than one Bill Gates in this world, but man, that ain't to throw no shade. It's just every time I see Bill Gates, I get a little triggered.
He's in the comment section trying to make everybody take vaccines and stuff.
He's like, yeah, that's my
That's
my
my name.
name,
My BAME.
my bane. It is what it is, man. Yeah, no shade, man. I'm sure you can imagine how I feel about other Bill Gateses. You might feel the same way.
I know I need to go to Arkansas. There's a guy there. Are you familiar with the channel? Dang it, what's his name? Farmhand's Companion.
No,
Oh,
I've
you
never
need to
heard of
check,
that. I'll
dude.
check
Like,
that out. I'll
yeah,
check
I'm
that
gonna.
out.
He doesn't talk or anything, but his channel is so good. He just shares like basically old fashioned ways of doing things around his farm and stuff. But
Yeah,
it's so good.
that's cool.
I'm gonna put the link in the comments because I want everybody needs to go check his channel out. He's awesome. But he wrote a book on how to build a pole barn, and he sent me one for free, and he signed it, and I made a belt for him and sent it to him, and it's kind of nice because he's got his he's like my friend the leather worker Josh or something. He like wrote my YouTube channel and stuff on there, and then he signed it. It's real nice. But I just posted
Cool.
the link to his channel. He's an awesome guy, and he's doing like really good stuff. He has I think he has his own homeschool program and everything. Like he's
So
awesome.
he's fully legit then. That guy's putting in the work.
Yeah, he's doing a lot of really good work. I think I don't know how old he is, 50 something, 50, 60. But
That's cool.
oh my gosh, actually, oh, now that I haven't looked at his channel in a long time, but he's talking now, which is odd for him because he always said he would never speak in his videos, but it looks like he is.
Yeah, I just subbed that guy. That's cool.
Yeah. But
I'll have to check that out.
he also has like a bed and breakfast he has a store like an old fashioned just old fashioned store, like a convenience store.
Yeah.
And he's got a bed and breakfast in the back, like a little cabin in the back you can stay in. So I was going to go up there, and
Yeah.
I was talking to him a while back about coming up there and doing some videos with him and stay at his little bed and breakfast and visit his farm and everything.
Yeah. That'd be cool. Yeah, or even, like even before you go up there, try to get him on a live. I bet that'd be cool. I bet he's got a lot of stuff he could talk about too.
Yeah, definitely. Now that I see he's speaking in videos, so that's good. I might can get him on my channel.
That'd be cool.
I see he did a podcast a while back, and I listened to it, and they asked him, said, why do you not talk in your videos? He said, well, I just thought it was a lot more entertaining, and it was kind of comical and everything, seeing me just kind of fumble around my farm and messing stuff up, and nobody ever hears my voice, and He's
Right.
always like tripping over stuff, you know, just little funny things here and there that he puts in there to make it entertaining. But he said, and my voice, I thought it just sounded stupid, so I decided I wouldn't talk in my videos.
I can agree on that. Like I think that my voice sounds stupid, and I think that the way I talk sounds stupid because I'm always saying and just other things, you know. So
Yeah, I thought I was like that too when I first started doing videos, but now I just don't care anymore.
yeah, I really don't care. I just hate listening back to it. Every time I listen back to something that I'm talking about, I'm like, you're retarded.
You're an idiot. Just stop
Yeah, yeah,
it. Yeah, I'm gonna have to come over there too, and I, had to, I need to come visit you. Maybe we can do some videos together.
yeah. Be cool.
Heck yeah. We need to all have a meetup somewhere. I think
It would be
Tennessee is the
cool.
place.
Tennessee,
Yeah.
be cool. Pigeon Forge.
Yeah. I keep saying somewhere in the Smokies because that'd be fairly central for most people. I think we're getting up there in the center of because most people are on the East Coast. I think Southeast
Yeah.
Missouri is a good halfway for me at least. Well, DJ, you're way up there, way up there in almost in Canada.
Where they eat lutefisk.
uh, you y'all stay up there. Y'all up there with your casseroles and
There's a lot of casseroles in Missouri, I'll tell
is
you.
there? I
Yeah.
like casserole too.
Yeah. But they're all like terribly calorically dense though. So I can't do that very often anymore.
Yeah, I love some shepherd's pie. My wife makes a lot, and I'll like have some shepherd's pie and then just fall asleep.
Yeah. Dude, growing up, my thing was the whole tater tot casserole. That, if you know
Yeah,
what that is, oh
yeah.
man, that was one of my favorites. But it's kind of like Jack Black says on the first Tenacious D album. I'm trying to watch my figure. My a full-figured man.
Yeah. Well, what do you got? Anything cool coming up?
I was gonna try to do some filming soon. I'm more in the brainstorming aspect. I come up with something really quick and then do it. My forethought, I'm working on it, but like I'm always just flying by the seat of my pants and I come up with something, or I'll be out, doing some sort of moving in the woods, and I've been working on just trying to move in the woods and be quiet, like almost like stalking, to where I can get closer to animals and stuff, and move through the brush without snapping twigs, and being a guy that's 300, that can be a little hard, but I'm getting better at it. Like I've so I'll be out there doing some sort of thing in the woods, and I'll get an idea and shoot it. You know what I mean? So it's
Yeah.
one of them things I need to put more forethought into. I got a little thing I've written down stuff on, but
You know what I've spent a lot of time looking into, and it's kind of hard to find some of the information, especially when it comes to like hand to hand fighting techniques and stuff like that. But looking at how I've done a lot of research on how the tribes, especially the eastern woodland tribes, did things during the French and Indian War and stuff like that, and just their warfare, tactics in general, uh,
right.
which is like so helpful. I know we often want to look at the modern combat stuff, but man, like you think about like they were like smoking people who were far well funded and armed than they were. So
Right. I remember I did talk to you about maybe trying to do a like an LPOP, kind of dug into where there's some ballistic protection and stuff like that. I've been thinking about doing some bushcraft stuff because it's not going to be stupid hot. Like up here, the ticks have been retarded, so Anytime
Yeah.
I've been out in the woods, I come back looking like I've got mange running up my legs. So I'm ready for that fall weather where I can get out and not get ate completely up.
Same. Fortunately, it's been a little bit cooler the last couple of days. I know the humidity seems down, so I think early in the morning I'm gonna get outside and do me a patrolling video and stuff that I hadn't done in a long time.
Dude, that's cool.
Yeah.
I'm sure I'll have something coming soon.
Yeah. All right. Well, you got anything to add to this before we go?
Man, like I said, I think my brain's all tapped out at this point. I get up at 4 in the morning, so by the
Oh,
time 9 o'clock comes, I'm starting to short out, and it is 11:25. Like, like I'm good at like going on just BSing, but like as far as having some formed thoughts that would convince anybody that I have a level of intelligence at this point, they're pretty well shot.
yeah. I feel you. Well, I guess we're gonna go now. My son's been standing here staring at me for like the last 10 minutes on the other side of the table. So
I've been there. I've been there.
he knows not to come down here. So he's doing what he knows he's not supposed to be doing. He's not supposed to come in this room. Period. So somebody's about to get in trouble.
Well, I haven't heard him at all. So I mean, he must be being a pretty good boy. My kid would be like, "Daddy, Daddy, Daddy," and I'd just be like, "Oh my gosh, be quiet."
Yeah. Well, hey man, thanks for coming on with us, talking about all this and
Yeah, man.
good.
Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, we'll have to do more videos in the future. So I enjoyed it.
Yeah, man. You got an idea? Shoot it my way. I enjoyed the whole kind of researching thing the other day. So I'll probably do some of just things I come up with. But at the same time, if you ever want to collab, man, I'm cool with that.
Yeah, same. Always trying to work with everybody. But everybody
Cool.
else, thanks for stopping by. Thanks for joining. And always supporting the channel. Make sure you go over and subscribe to his channel as well, Missouri Survival. As always, everybody, you know what to do. Stay self-reliant.